Can you believe this? Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Dawg Knight. All right, stop the damn music. Good morning. If I look a little salty, it's because I am, okay? But that's okay. We're still going to have a good show today. Yeah. Kind of like the Houstons. Yeah. Make America great again. I don't know if you're familiar with the Hughes twins. They're pretty funny guys. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Marty. That's me, a.k.a. Dawg Knight on the Dawg Knight channel. I am so glad some of you are already here. Lighten up the chat. That's awesome. I'm glad you're here. I said it twice. I'm going to say it again. I'm glad you're here. So let's just get into this because I got things to talk about that are fascinating regarding some of the investigations that have been going on for the last couple of years and how they started and all this stuff. But mainly there's one main character that is probably on a roller coaster right now. And I think maybe he should be, I think he should be wary of what he presents to the world. And so let's get into that. James Comey. It's a fascinating week for him, and today's Friday. And you know, the news dump that I predicted last week has kind of been trickling out over the last 2 days instead. That at least what I was expecting. I was expecting some of this to come out last week. The Inspector General's report that was coming out is coming out in pieces, and the first part of it has come out this week and has had an interesting impact on one James Comey. Now, before we get into that, let's say hello. Good morning to the people who are here. Truck and Bear, you get the bell because you were number one. You were first, my brother. Also, Smarty Bear, Jason Burns, Rolling Bear, Diesel Dave, D.I. Freighter, and I'm sure there's more slowly strolling in. All right, so let's just get into this. So yesterday? No, it was 2 days ago. A report came out. John Solomon. Oops, what did I do there? I don't want that. Let's click the right button this time. And how's that looking on the screen? Looks good. Okay, so John Solomon did an editorial because of some things that happened. But I want to read this editorial because some of the important information is in this opinion piece. It's an opinion piece. So just so you know that. James Comey's next reckoning is imminent. Now, this was 2 days ago. Wednesday? Yeah, this was on Wednesday. James Comey's next reckoning is imminent, this time for leaking. The Justice Department chief watchdog is preparing a damning report on James Comey's conduct in his final days as FBI director that will likely conclude he leaked classified information and showed lack of candor after his own agency began looking into his feud with President Trump over the Russia probe. Inspector General Michael Horwitz's team referred Comey for possible prosecution under the classified information protection laws, but Department of Justice prosecutors working for Attorney General William Barr reportedly have decided to decline that prosecution, a decision that is likely to upset Comey's conservative critics. Now, that's very important. So what happened? The Inspector General referred him for criminal charges because he did, in fact, have FBI material that should have never left the FBI's files, so to speak, in his home. The FBI went to his home. Now, well, there's some problem with the dates, okay? when they actually realized that he took this material with him. But anyway, some of this stuff was retroactively classified. And so under our laws for classified information protection, those items, that is a criminal act. And so James Comey committed a criminal act. Now, the Justice Department has decided that they are not going to prosecute him for that specific act. Okay. Now, could be two reasons for that. One, some people are just above the law because it's clearly illegal to do what he did. Kind of like a certain former presidential candidate who had classified information she was not supposed to have somewhere she was not supposed to have it. But I will not mention that at all. James Comey also had classified information, government files, government material that did not belong in his home. The FBI went there, retrieved it. There's no question that he had it in his home. Okay. And it being some of it was retroactively classified, made top secret. That is a crime under federal law. Now, there is precedent for this. There was a gentleman, what was the guy's name? Jeffrey something. He was a former agent who went to prison for having information. He was trying to be a whistleblower, so to speak, and they ended up putting him in prison because the information that he had in his possession, they retroactively classified it, and they put him in prison for that, even though it wasn't classified when he took the information. So there is precedent for that. There is precedent for people having classified information in their possession that is not supposed to be in their possession, and going to jail is in Chelsea Manning or the other dude that's famous, or even the guy in Connecticut who was taking pictures for his family on a nuclear submarine. And because it was a nuclear submarine, Jeffrey Sterling, thank you, D.I. Freighter. Yes, Jeffrey Sterling. Look up that case. The kid who got put in jail because he had a picture of himself in front of the nuclear submarine. Now, it was just kind of like selfie photos for his family, but that was illegal to have that material in your possession. So, anyway, let's move on to this article. Prosecutors found the IG findings compelling, but decided not to bring charges because they did not believe they had enough evidence of Comey's intent to violate the law, according to multiple sources. Now, that's interesting. We went back to this intent thing. Now, and Comey used that intent thing when he had a press conference about a certain former presidential candidate and all the tons of material she had, pretending that she was too dumb to know that it was illegal to do this stuff, which is maddening in itself, but whatever. Now, so anyway, the concerns stem from the fact that one memo that Comey leaked to a friend, specifically to be published by the media, as he admitted in congressional testimony, contained information classified at the lowest level of confidential. And that classification was made by the FBI after Comey had transmitted the information, sources said. So he got a pass because they're saying he didn't know that they were going to classify that information later. So he figured they were just his notes, okay? Although a technical violation, the Department of Justice did not want to make its first case against the Russian investigators with such thin margins and look petty and vindictive, a source told me. This is John Solomon writing. Sources told me explaining the DOJ's rationale. So the bad news Comey got was that, yes, the Inspector General's report referred him for criminal prosecution. The good news for Comey is that they are not prosecuting him on this just very narrow, specific item. But it's not all good news for James Comey, because The rationale, again, they did not want to, quote, make its first case against the Russia investigators with such thin margins and look petty and vindictive. But Comey and others in the FBI and the DOJ during his tenure still face legal jeopardy and ongoing probes by the Inspector General and bar-appointed Special Prosecutor John Durham. Those investigations are focused on the origins of the Russia investigation that included a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act warrant targeting the Trump campaign at the end of the 2016 election, the sources said. And we also are finding out that those FISA warrant requests made by the FBI had James Comey's signature on them. Oh, the mystery of it all. There are significant issues emerging with how the FISA was handled and other conduct in the investigation, and everyone involved remains under scrutiny, a second source says. Patrick Fitzgerald and Daniel Richmond, two of Comey's lawyers, and Keith Urban, his spokesman, did not return repeated calls and emails seeking comment. The lack of prosecution is certain to demoralize some conservatives who have long called for Comey's head, but the IG report, set to be released within the next few weeks, will likely provide significant condemnations of Comey's conduct. While they caution that the IG's final report won't be completed until it gets feedback from Comey's lawyers in the next few days, it is expected that the former FBI director improperly took with him memos that were FBI property when he was fired, and so on and so forth. So there's a whole bunch there. So then we get into the second article, this one from the Washington Examiner. DOJ declines to prosecute James Comey on Inspector General referral for leaking classified info. So this is another story kind of pertaining to the same thing. The Justice Department declined to prosecute former FBI Director James Comey following a criminal referral from the agency's independent watchdog, which concluded that Comey had leaked classified information and showed lack of candor, meaning he lied. Lack of candor means he lied, just like with Andrew McCabe, lack of candor, why he was fired, because he lied. Inspector General Michael Horowitz reached out to prosecutors about one of the memos Comey leaked to a friend, which detailed a conversation he had with President Trump after he was fired by President Trump in May 2017. Although prosecutors found the watchdog's finding compelling, they decided against prosecution under classified information protection laws because there being too much uncertainty around Comey's intent. That word intent, you know what? Here's the other thing. Intent is not part of the law in this case with classified information. You don't have to have intent. The kid who was just taking pictures on the nuclear sub wasn't intending to leak any secrets, but he had them in his possession outside of the government, and that is against the law. There's no intent in the law. Okay? And again, with a former certain presidential candidate who had classified information everywhere, let's put it this way. She had classified information on a server in her basement. She had classified information on a felon child. What was it? What did Anthony Weiner get prosecuted for? I don't know, felony child endangerment, sex offender, felony sex offender. On his laptop, some of that classified information was. Anyway, whether it doesn't matter if you have intent, you can't have it. Jeffrey Sterling, when he took the information that he took that was not classified, that they retroactively classified and put him in jail. There was no intent there either. Anyway, I'm tired of seeing this word intent. It doesn't apply to classified information. You cannot have it. Anyway, a month after he was fired, Comey testified to Congress he had leaked his notes to a friend to give to the media, hoping that it would spark a special counsel investigation. Then Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein appointed Robert Mueller as a special counsel the next day after the New York Times first reported the details from one of Comey's leaked memos, which claimed Trump pressured the FBI to drop the investigation into his national security advisor, Michael Flynn. The memos classified classified as confidential, the lowest classification level after Comey sent the information. So here's the deal. They're not going to waste a ton of time on this particular minor thing because they still got a whole bunch of stuff in the pipe ready to fire. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming up. So anyway, and speaking of which, before I move on though, also good morning to his kitten and Johnny Hellcat. How you doing, folks? All right, moving on. The next one though, this is good. New evidence unveils disturbing facts about Hillary's email scandal. Now, I wish they would stop calling it an email scandal. They need to stop that. Here, it's a classified information mishandling scandal. It has nothing to do with her email. It has to do about what was in the email server. Classified information, special access programming, things that you would normally have to have within government secured facilities or servers or SCIFs or things like that. All right, so here we go. The FBI is implicated, but here's now. I don't think someone on one of the news channels was saying that they're really probably if you're waiting for Hillary to get prosecuted, please do not hold your breath or go on a drinking binge until they do that because you will probably die. She probably will never be prosecuted. However, a lot of people peripheral to her and the investigation of her and the investigation of President Trump and the investigation of his campaign probably should be looking over their shoulders right now, making sure to see who's watching and who's tracking their movements, because there's some people who probably are going to be prosecuted when this is over. Now, this case that I'm reading right here, FBI is implicated in destroying evidence to benefit Hillary Clinton. In breaking news, the American Center for Law and Justice, or ACLJ, Jay Sekulow's organization, not related to his role as the president's attorney, has obtained actual copies of the immunity agreements pertaining to Cheryl Mills and Heather Samuelson in the Hillary email scandal. This was a stunning litigation win, hard fought after years of litigation by the ACLJ attorneys who were unable to extract the documents through the normal FOIA processes due to lack of cooperation by the government. In reviewing what the agreements uncovered, keep in mind that Cheryl Mills was Secretary Clinton's chief of staff at the State Department, and then, bizarrely, she subsequently served as Clinton's attorney representing her in the, there they go, that word again, email scandal. It's not an email scandal. Stop calling it that. Classified, improperly handled classified information scandal is what I'm going to call it. I'm just going to change that. I'll ring the bell I'll change it every time. Heather Samuelson worked on Hillary Clinton's 2008 campaign and then became a senior advisor to her at the State Department, as well as the White House liaison. Somehow, she also became one of Clinton's personal attorneys during the classified information mishandling scandal. Immunity agreements issued by the government were crafted so that the agencies could extract information from the parties, despite the fact that this is not necessary because the DOJ has the power to require that the information be turned over. Clinton kept classified emails on a private server. Classified information mishandling. In violation of federal law. And we know this because James Comey told us this in a press conference not too long before the 2016 election. He told us all of that. And the immunity agreements reveal that both Cheryl Mills and Heather Samuelson were actively involved in the cover-up of these emails as well as in the destruction of evidence. According to Jordan Seklow, executive director of the ACLJ, it is extremely unusual for someone involved in a criminal cover-up who needs an immunity deal to ensure the evasion of jail time, later becomes the attorney representing the other potential criminal or co-conspirator. The agreements issued were with the DOJ and the FBI. They asserted that Mills and Samuelson would turn over the computers to them, but stipulated that they weren't turning over custody and control. This critical point is a legal and factual bunch of bunk. The FOIA statute applies to information in the agency's custody and control. Anything not in their custody or control cannot be FOIA'd. So there. See, they did a little legal mumbo jumbo there by they would turn off the computers, but not turning over custody and control, because if they had turned over custody and control, all the information they would have come up with would be subject to FOIA laws. It's a legal end around to avoid having to have this information be seen by the public. Very fascinating. Custody and control is not something that suspects have to expressly give over or agree to get over. When they give over evidence, then obviously, as a matter of fact, they are also giving the agency custody and control over that evidence. Suspects cannot withhold custody and control by mere words or lack of consent, as consent is not required. In other words, these agreements are extremely flawed, and whomever signed off on them should be investigated and perhaps prosecuted. It is clear that the purpose of this clause was to make the arguably illegal activities of Mills and Samuelson's out of reach of FOIA. In other words, it would be withheld from the public. This is the very definition of corruption. Somebody in the FBI signed off on that nonsense. It's you want to talk about obstruction of justice? Man, the fact that they're destroying things under subpoena, they're hiding certain items, they're smashing certain items, they're reformatting drives and hitting things with hammers, and and there's this bullshit. So there's a whole bunch. Everyone knows all of what that certain candidate did. But subsequently, Mill and Samuelson finally gave the computers over to the FBI, which, per their agreements, limited the FBI's investigation. Now, this is the other thing. The FBI agreed to limit, A, the method by which the emails investigated would be obtained, B, the scope of the files which would be investigated, and C, the time frame parameters for investigated emails. In other words, the FBI agreed in the immunity contracts not to do a full investigation on the Clinton emails. Okay, I'll say emails this time. To make matters worse, per the immunity agreements, the FBI agreed to destroy the computers that had the backup emails. As Congressman Jim Jordan referenced during the Mueller hearings recently, the FBI used BleachBit to purge the servers so that the information could never be accessed in the future, and used hammers to smash the phones involved. In other words, the FBI and DOJ participated in the destruction of evidence. The FBI themselves destroyed the evidence. Oh my God. This in effect constitutes a conspiracy between the Obama DOJ under Loretta Lynch and the Comey-led FBI to cover up Clinton's crimes. So anyway, it is a very tangled web being woven, or that was woven at the time, and it's just freaking insane to me that this stuff's going on. Unbelievable. Anyway, so let's see. Yes, Marsupial Gamer. Good morning, and yes, the FBI did that. Amazing. All right, a couple other things in the news. Let's see here. Border Patrol agents in one sector apprehend 225 border jumpers in a single morning. That's amazing. Let's see. Reporter says truck driver in horrific crash that killed 7 motorcyclists was on drugs and he should have been deported ages ago. Okay, there's another one of those. Some of these, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of these I'm just going to put in the chat because I'm not going to actually go through them. But yeah, there's one of those stories. Oh yeah, this one. Here's one that a lot of people are talking about. I saw Shewan had tweet about this one this morning. A New York A New York City man said that some teenagers beat him for wearing a MAGA hat. It's funny. Now this is one of those rare times that these stories make the news. You always hear about the kid who smirked, or Jussie Smollett, or Erica Thomas. Erica Thomas is a household name if you're a news junkie, but we rarely hear about all the people who get beat up for wearing MAGA hats, unless you're pretty much you see them in some right-wing media, but that's about it. A local New York City man said he was beaten by a group of teenagers in Manhattan for wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat. Jahangir John Turin, an art gallery owner, purchased a MAGA hat Tuesday after visiting Trump Tower, Fox 5 reported. He told reporters Thursday that he was attacked by a group of about 15 kids on Canal Street and had his head smashed into a scaffold. The kids yelled "F Trump" and began to stomp on him before smashing his head, he said. Turin fractured his cheek and has a swollen eye, and he is checking to see if there may be permanent damage to his eyesight. Turin is a President Donald Trump supporter and told reporters, "It's sad a hat would cause someone to beat him up," according to Fox 5. "I love President Trump," Turin said during the told Fox 5 New York. "I think he's doing a great job. It's sad to get beat up for wearing a hat. This is America." Turin held a press conference Thursday that the NYPD find the people who attacked him, and there have been reports of people being harassed and beaten up for wearing MAGA hats all over the place. A Hispanic woman said she was nearly assaulted by someone who took offense to the hat in April, and a legal American citizen from Togo alleged that he was attacked in April as well for sporting the gear. So they are investigating this, but you know what? More violence against the MAGA people. It's funny, because I keep hearing. Remember we talked about that? What's that? That report by the Anti-Defamation League, ADL, saying, every extremist murder in 2018 was from a right-wing extremist. And then we come to find out that of the 17 examples they had, first of all, only 4 were ideological crimes. The rest were like domestic violence or disputes between two people that had nothing to do with their ideology, but they had to pad the circus with more hay so that you could believe the bullshit to catch the elephant crap that it was. Let's see. All right, so what else we got? Real quick here. Tulsi Gabbard. Kamala Harris is smearing. So the other day we all saw how Tulsi Gabbard basically ended Kamala Harris's career. And Kamala Harris decided to swing back. So now Tulsi Gabbard says Kamala Harris resorts to cheap smears because I exposed her lies. Appearing Thursday on The Hill's Rising, Representative Tulsi Gabbard slammed Senator Kamala Harris for accusing her of being close to the regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and mocking her low polling numbers, calling the attacks pathetic and cheap, which they were. It's funny. She was on Chris Cuomo's show the other night. I should have shown you the clip. Maybe the clip will be here. No. And Chris Cuomo also starts bringing up Bashar al-Assad because Tulsi Gabbard had met with him at one time. And also, Tulsi Gabbard is very anti-war. So she is against doing any more military intervention in the Middle East, and that includes Syria. So now there are people out there saying that she is, a stooge of Assad, and she's being controlled by the Russians, and she's part of the Russian conspiracy. I mean, God, it's so freaking pathetic. I had this morning even I was looking at a tweet by David French? Let me think. I'll even look it up here. Let me find it here because I responded to it. Pretty damn funny. Let's see. Oh, Rick Wilson. So Rick Wilson tweets out this. I go at Tulsi Gabbard And suddenly I get phishing emails by the score and password reset requests on all my accounts. But it's totally not the Putin machine. Oh my God. This whole moral panic about the Russians. That's why I think my response was something about moral panic. But then I went down and start reading the comments to this tweet. This one. Putin knows if she's the Dem nominee, she's the only one that will make people hold their noses and vote for Trump again. She's our Jill Stein for 2020. Are you fucking kidding me? Only if Putin machine is the name of basement dweller who weighs for. Okay, that's responding to her. Tulsi is an Assad apologist, Putin-powered politic intended to Jill Stein the 2020 election. There, I said it. Come on. The Russians did anything. Vladimir puts 20% of the troll work in favor of critics of real Donald Trump. They want to give the GOP an excuse for their 80% support of MAGA fascism. Fascism! I'm gonna start digging all the buzzwords from now on. Anytime I hear a buzzword, fascism. But Russia. In fact, chat, help me out here. I want you to come up with a list of the buzzwords, of the words that racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, ableist. Chat, type a buzzword into the chat. Any buzzword. Any buzzword. Good morning, Maniac Man. I hope you're feeling well. I hope you're doing well. I really do. All right. But anyway, yeah, it's like, I knew it. Everything about her is suspect. The Republicans love her. She is promoted by RT, Russia Today. And the trolls, Russians. And the crazy sites are promoting her. She is the Jill Stein of 2020 in the Democratic Party. Phobic. Bigot. Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian asset, is also a closet Republican. Of course it is. The sooner people realize Tulsi Gabbard is bought off by Putin, the better. Problematic. She is without a doubt already paid to run through Russian money laundering machine, which is pouring money into her campaign through donations. These people are it's a fever swamp. Anyone who calls this the modern McCarthyism is absolutely right. Good morning, straight Sith male. I just saw you in there. It's embarrassing, all because Hillary Clinton lost an election. So it's the most elaborate conspiracy theory. CNN and MSNBC should go the route of Alex Jones on YouTube, because all they have is conspiracy theories, and yet they're promoted to the top anytime you look up a news item. Or on Google, they are promoted to the top. It's insanity. Oh, now here's a new one. Gabbard is backed by Koch brothers money. Koch brothers. But you won't find it in her latest financial disclosure form. What? Why won't you? I don't think the Koch brothers are oh my God. Oh, okay. Oh, there's a report. Oh, Tulsi Gabbard is an advisor to a Koch-funded think tank. Is that how you came up with that? So let's see. I drink the same kind of bottled water as Richard Spencer. So I must be a white nationalist. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Good Lord. These people are fucking stupid. Anyway, so, my response to that. What was my response? Moral panic, anyone? What's funnier that this guy, Rick Wilson, thinks he's that important that the Russians are trying to hack his accounts. Gee, Rick Wilson, what earth-shattering information that would affect an election could you possibly have that they are going to hack your accounts, you Nimrod. Nobody gives a crap about you, Rick Wilson. Good Lord. It's just comical. Yeah, that dude should be embarrassed. He should be embarrassed, but I guarantee you he's not embarrassed, and that's a problem. By the way, let's real quick, thank you, Trucking Bear, for putting out or retweeting the tweet of the show today. Got to remind you every day that the Morning Night Live is brought to you by you, my friends here in the chat of the Morning Night Live. Please, if you haven't done so already, down here is an arrow that says share next to it. Share this out on your favorite social media, whether you're watching live or if you're watching a replay. I appreciate that very much. Also, if you haven't already done so, the like button is also down here. Also, if you want to super chats, if you got something that's just got to be heard, you got to make sure that I see it. You can do that through Super Chats via the Streamlabs link down below. I do not have YouTube Super Chats, so we use Streamlabs. Thank you so much. All right, and hello again, Jason Burns, which you were here earlier. So, the Koch brothers are anti-Trumpers. Yeah, they are now. They kind of are. In fact, it's funny though. They teamed up with George Soros or something. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, and off the top of my head, I can't remember. But they're actually working as a team on some things. The Koch brothers are libertarians, and so their focus, whether or not they support issues and not necessarily candidates. So if they do support a candidate, it's because of the issues that candidate is supporting. I don't think they are trying to take over the world. They just happen to have a lot of money and happen to agree with Republicans more than Democrats. But not everything that they do is right wing. They're freedom wing. Okay. And whether you like the idea that rich people can express themselves by who they support with their money, it's their money. They can do that. Now, does it give them undue influence? It is possible. I'm sure it does. Certainly, they have more influence than I do. But I don't care. You know what? I don't care. I just don't. Anyway. Thank you, Marsupio Gamer, also for retweeting the show this morning. So, what else we got here? Got a couple more articles, and then we'll move on. We're actually going to try to get done on time today. I always give myself to half past the hour to get the show finished, and I always go over. But today I'm somewhat more organized. All right. Now there's some interesting things. What's this? Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, we did that. Trump rips Dem. Okay, this one's funny. I'll do this one. Trump rips the Democrats after the debate while he hilariously trolls Hillary Clinton. On Thursday night after the Democratic presidential debate, President Trump issued 2 tweets that not only slammed the prospective candidates for president, but also took a hilarious shot at his erstwhile 2016 opponent, Hillary Clinton, by using words indelibly associated with her. Here, let me click this off real quick. Trump started by pointing out the incongruity of the candidates ripping him while the country was prospering, writing, "The people on the stage tonight and last were not those that will either make America great again or keep America great. Our country is now breaking records in almost every category, from stock market to military to unemployment. We have prosperity and success like never before. It will soon be time to choose to keep and build upon that prosperity and success or let it go. We are respected again around the world. Keep it that way. I said I will never let you down, and I haven't." Now let me just say one thing for Donald Trump, that ever since I first heard of him in the early 1980s, Donald Trump loves him some Donald Trump. And he absolutely has no qualms about talking about what is great about Donald Trump. But then he finished with a flourish and an ironic tip of the hat to Hillary. He wrote, "We will only grow bigger, better, and stronger together." The obvious allusion was to Hillary's campaign slogan in 2016, "Stronger Together." So if you didn't catch that, he basically used her theme there. Democrats spent all night ripping on Trump. The first shot came from Tulsi Gabbard. Donald Trump. Oh, this is weird too. Okay. Oh no, that they didn't. The one thing that Tulsi kind of weirded me out with, when she was complaining that Donald Trump is supporting Al-Qaeda and Al-Qaeda is stronger than ever. I'm not sure what the hell she's talking about. Has there been a big resurgence of Al-Qaeda? I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, we don't have to talk about the Democratic debate. I just wanted to laugh at Donald Trump using Hillary's campaign slogan in his tweets afterwards. I noticed that, and I don't even follow Trump, but I see people. You know what? One of the greatest things about Twitter, because I would follow Donald Trump on Twitter, but it's completely unnecessary. If you watch this show, we see how everything that Donald Trump says trends on Twitter, and all we got to do is look at the Twitter trends, and we'll find whatever he tweeted that day. It's there every freaking day. So anyway, this is interesting. So, Housing and Urban Development Administrator blasts OcasioCortez for prioritizing border over rat problem in her own district. Apparently, there's a rat problem in her district too. While Congressman Elijah Cummings is now dealing with new interest in how $15 billion in federal aid allocated for Baltimore was spent, an administration official is now targeting another congressional representative for lack of interest in her home district. HUD Region 2 Administrator Lynn Patton hit freshman Congresswoman Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez for neglecting her district, New York 14. During a recent FNC interview, Patton disclosed that she was forced to close a children's day camp last week because maggot-infested rats were falling from the ceiling onto children's desks. Oh, God. Here's that interview. Let's show you here.
This is obviously being made by supporters of the president and members of his party.
Absolutely.
That this president has been very good for minority communities.
Absolutely.
When you look at the very low unemployment
and
rate.
let me tell you something. Americans are sick and tired of being put last by politicians who took an oath to put them first. I am in Ocasio-Cortez's district more than she is. She's more concerned about conditions at the border than conditions in her own backyard. This past week, I had to shut down a children's day camp because dead rats were falling through the ceiling and hitting the ground and falling on children's desks. So infested with maggots that they broke apart when they hit the ground, causing staffers to throw up. That's what's happening in New York City.
Let me finish.
So anyway, I don't want to play it again. President Donald Trump must have struck a nerve by calling attention to the fact that many Democratic districts that are considered safe by progressive politicians are anything but for the actual residents. After the initial charges of racism against the president's remarks were failing to hurt Trump, the Democrats and the media turned to accusing Trump's son-in-law's family of ignoring rat infestations in his properties. Quote, and they had this quote here: Jared Kushner's family's real estate firm owns thousands of apartments and townhomes in the Baltimore area, and some have been criticized for the same kind of disrepair and neglect that the president has accused local leaders of failing to address. Residents have complained about mold, bed bugs, leaks, and yes, mice, plenty of mice. They say management appears in no hurry to fix the problems. They don't care, said Desmond James, who says he has spotted as many as 3 mice a week since he moved into the Commons at White Marsh in suburban Middle River 4 years ago. Suspect that Trump will double down on progressive districts' public health issues should the Democrats and the press continue targeting his family. The president will find it is a target-rich environment. For example, the deep blue Seattle-Tacoma region placed ninth on a 2017 ranking of America's top 50 rodent-infested towns. A popular bagel shop in San Francisco was closed because of a rat infestation. Last year was a bad year for rats in progressive Portland. The uptick in urban rats was homeowners frantically trying to figure out ways to thwart infestations. It is a bad year for rats, said Dana Sanchez, wildlife specialist for Oregon State University Extension Service. Eugene and parts of Portland are experiencing a noticeable increase. It could mean there are more rats, or it could be evidence that people are providing more habitat. Anyway, and they just talk about the diseases and stuff rats bring. So anyway, yeah, a lot of these people, they spend so much time protecting people who are non-citizens. And I think Trump is just trying to make sure that we think about America first. Yes, that was intended. All right, we're going to move on. But before I do, say good morning to Jay Muller and Irish Rose and Seamus Derby. Good morning, everybody. All right. By the way, we've had these crazy Democrat debates. But so far for the next round, only 7 Democratic candidates have qualified for the third one. 3 other candidates are right on the edge. The 2020 Democratic primary, thank God. Can we narrow this shit down? Let me ask you, chat. I'm going to give you, let's just take one of the names of the people that, do you think answer the question, do you think they have a chance in hell? You can even put their name and your answer behind each one. I'm going to start with, anybody think, in fact, I don't even know her first name, Gillibrand? Anyone think, is it Christine Gillibrand? Does anyone think Christine Gillibrand has a chance in hell to become the Democratic nominee? Votes? How about John Hickenlooper? Anybody think John Hickenlooper has a chance in hell? Votes? How about, who's the other dude? Even some that have qualified. Does anyone think that Beto O'Rourke has a chance in hell of becoming president of the United States? Votes? I know, and even though I can't see the votes because there's a little bit of lag between my chat and you typing it in, I know the answer. No. So far, chaos has ensued. I'm sorry. The 2020. Okay, I'm just going to skip. The third debate will take place on September 12th and 13th in Houston, Texas. If only 10 candidates qualified, then only one debate will happen. The New York Times did not say what would happen if 12 or 13 candidates reached the threshold. Due to the overflow of candidates, the Democratic National Committee changed the requirements for each debate. The candidates must now have 130,000 unique donors to reach, they have 130,000 unique donors and reached 2% in 4 polls to participate in the third debate. So they've really upped the ante on this. They're trying to narrow this down. Right now, the candidates who have qualified are Joe Biden, Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, Beto O'Rourke, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren. 3 other candidates may meet the requirements in time. The former Housing Secretary Julian Castro, entrepreneur Andrew Yang have each surpassed 130,000 donations and each have 3 of the 4 qualifying polls they need, while Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota has met the polling threshold and has about 120,000 donors. Now, Senator Amy Klobuchar, the senator from my fabulous state of Minnesota. Does anyone in my chat, the astute political junkies that you are, does anyone in my chat think Amy Klobuchar has a icicle's chance in hell of becoming the nominee, becoming the president, or even becoming a vice presidential hopeful. Zero. Not a chance. Amy Klobuchar has zero name recognition, except for the only reason you might know Amy Klobuchar's name, and this is a stretch, is because she's a senator from the same state as former Senator Al Franken. That's it. Unless you are from Minnesota, you have no idea who she is. Comb salad. Oh, yeah, she is famous for the comb salad. She's the one who who's first of all, her staff, some of her staff and former staff says she's abusive to them. And she yelled at one of her staffs because she had a salad and there was no fork, so she ate the salad with the comb. That's Amy Klobuchar. You know, okay, so now you know. Once I tell you the salad story, which DI was so kind to remind me of, which I wish I would not remember. Yes, this is the senator who eats salad with a comb. No chance in hell is she going to become president. I'm sorry. Now, here's the other one. Let's see. Activist Tom Steyer has 2 polls, while Representative Tulsi Gabbard and former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper have 1 poll. The requirement may impede the others. Beyond them, only 3 candidates have even a single qualifying poll to their name. The impeachment activist Tom Steyer, Representative Tulsi Gabbard, and former Governor John Hickenlooper. We asked all 3 of their campaigns to provide donor numbers so we could assess where they stood. Ms. Gabbard had just under 114,000 donors. As of Wednesday night, a spokesman for Tom Steyer said he was on track to collect the required number of donors to make the September debate stage. I don't know how that... Here's another one. After the first debate, Tom Steyer throws his hat into the ring. Was there anybody on the planet that was desperate to have Tom Steyer jump into the presidential race? I don't think so. But he's trying, and we've already kind of figured out who the DNC is backing right now. You know that the DNC loves the idea of Kamala Harris. They would accept Joe Biden. The DNC probably doesn't want Bernie Sanders, although Bernie would be somewhat viable, I guess. I mean, at least he has a big following. I don't think anyone wants Elizabeth Warren. She's doing well in the polls right now, but I mean, she's a cringy as hell. It's funny. There's a Twitter thing out. She was somehow her campaign thought it was a good idea to put out something on Twitter that said to the effect, on the campaign trail, people often ask me if I would like to go have a beer with them. If you would like to have a beer with Elizabeth Warren, let us know and sign up for this and that. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Someone actually says they would love to have a beer with Elizabeth Warren. Is there anybody on the planet you'd rather want to have a beer with less than Elizabeth Warren? I mean, that cringy video she did from her home where she's, I think I will go have a beer. And, I'm killing my fridge. Oh, here, I will open it in front of you on camera. Oh, hello, Leslie Jones or Bob Smith. Hello. Oh, honey, would you like to have a beer? That's my husband. Good Lord. Anyway, here's the thing. What really makes me sad though about this list is one person is missing right now. The one person who's missing, Marianne Williamson's not on this list. Why is Marianne Williamson not on this list? They got to get Marianne Williamson. We got to get Marianne Williamson. What's funny is the only reason she made the second debate, and I'm going to say it, I'm going to say it. The only reason she made the second debate is because so many people on the right began donating to her campaigns. So she would have enough donors to make the second debate because she is gold. She is gold. You got to love Marianne Williamson. I think that's her name. Did I say her the right name? I think I did. Good morning, Cynical Lindsay. How you doing? So anyway, yeah, that's that one. Let's see. I got one more story before we go. Let me pick a good one here. Well, maybe two, because this is weird. Did you notice? I didn't watch the debate live, but I've been reading a lot of stuff about it. And it's weird how a lot of people in that debate seem to be kind of they were trashing Joe Biden, complaining about things that the Obama administration did. Now, these are all Democrats, and Democrats should be worshiping the ground that Obama walked on. And in fact, even after the debate, David Axelrod was making, or on Twitter was talking about how, you got to tread lightly if you're going to trash anything about the Obama administration, because remember, that's everyone supposedly wants him back. And so this article I thought was interesting in the Federalist. The biggest loser in last night's debate was Barack Obama. The former president, so closely tied to frontrunner Joe Biden, saw much of his legacy thrown under the bus. Yeah, they kind of did. In certain ways, the biggest loser in last night's Democratic presidential primary debate was not on the stage. It was former President Barack Obama. Throughout the night, as rivals challenged Joe Biden, Obama's vice president and current frontrunner, it took the form of blistering attacks on the Obama administration over immigration, criminal justice, and even his signature achievement, the Affordable Care Act, and especially on immigration, they're trashing him because, because anytime something comes up about the Trump administration being bad on immigration, they can say, well, that's not new because that was happening for the last X number of years. That all kind of slam right into the Obama administration. But anyway, part of this is simply the inevitable consequence of Biden, with big leads in the polls being everyone's most natural target. While it's true he has decades of political life to take aim at, his last significant political position was serving as Obama's number 2 for 8 years. Conceding that he and his boss did a bang-up job in the White House goes a long way towards conceding this current race to him. But last night, we saw that won't happen without a fight. The issue actually is far deeper than electoral calculations. In the just more than a decade since Obama first sat in the Oval Office, the Democratic Party has careened to the left like a sports car with a blown tire making a pass on the Autobahn. That's quite the metaphor. Last night's debate saw defenses of socialism, calls to essentially open the borders, free money for everyone, just like Oprah. You get free money, you get free money, you get free money, you get free money, you get free money. And plans for government-controlled health care with a price tag longer than a CVS receipt. On immigration, Biden was slammed by Cory Booker and Bill de Blasio over Obama's extremely high number of deportations. Best ever. And Biden's argument that the United States should be selective about who it lets in the country. Well, duh, but you can't say that if you're a Democrat anymore. Biden struggled to defend the so-called deporter-in-chief, arguing basically that Obama made a good start with the now-defunct DREAM Act, allowing younger people brought here illegally a path to citizenship. But beyond that, he was stymied by GOP control of the House. Interesting. On criminal justice reform, it was also Booker trying to take aim at the former vice president, who argued that since 2007, which includes his entire term as vice president, he had worked to eliminate discrepancies in sentencing for crack and powder cocaine, among other things. Booker said Biden was dipping into the Kool-Aid, and you don't even know the flavor. Now, look, I'm sorry. I let me just stop right now. Cory Booker. We don't need black men talking about Kool-Aid, okay? That's racist. Which is apparently a saying in Newark, New Jersey. It's not entirely clear what he means, but it clearly wasn't a compliment. It's a black thing you wouldn't understand. Booker also said that the current criminal justice system is broken, a subtle swipe at the Obama administration for not having done more to fix it. Funny he should mention that, because I recall there's an act called the First Step Act, kind of the first step to criminal justice reform, that was pushed by, who was that pushed by? I can't remember. Oh yeah, the Trump administration. But that can't be, because Trump is racist. By far the most damning attacks on Obama, and by extension Biden's stint in the White House, came over health care. The Affordable Care Act, which Biden once famously called a big fucking deal, was basically savaged by almost every candidate. Oh my God! They savaged Obamacare? Oh, that's so sad. This was the signature achievement of the Obama administration, and most candidates essentially want to scrap it in favor of so-called Medicare for all. Here again, Biden proceeded carefully, admitting that tweaks were needed, but he stood by the ACA's essential framework. So anyway, basically, yeah, they spent the night trashing the former president, and you know what? The former president is really technically still the leader of the party, right? I'm just saying. I just think that's not good, and I think maybe it especially if you keep trashing. Now, let's put it this way: Obama's still a very, very popular president among Democrats. He has a 95% approval rating. So really, I don't know if it's a good idea to trash him if you're a candidate running for president now, especially if you got to run against Trump. And if anything, you trash Obama, you discouraged kind of the Obama base a little bit, you know? I don't know. I wonder how far Trump hate is going to carry the Democrats, and how much the constant use of certain buzzwords, racist, is going to be able to carry people to the polls. And also, especially now, the DNC clearly early on kind of tipped their hand, and you know who the DNC is kind of pushing by who the networks push. Because for some reason, I don't know why, whatever the television networks is, the big, the corporate media types, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, CBS, CNN, I think that's all of them. Whoever they tend to push in the beginning is usually because someone at the DNC is really good at putting out talking points. And if they put out more talking points for this candidate and this candidate, they might put out talking points for all the candidates. But you know who they like by who the networks like. And from the very beginning, Kamala Harris was getting more time everywhere. Now, granted, Bernie Sanders gets a lot of time, but it's weird. Like, even if you watch some of the debate the other night when they're showing the crowd out, because I've been watching other videos about this. They're showing the crowd outside of the Fox Theater where they had the debates in Detroit. And you see there's like a group of Elizabeth Warren people, and there's a group of Harris people, and there's this group of Sanders people. And you kind of see the camera pan, and you see the Warren people, and you see the Harris people, and then they get to the Bernie people, and all of a sudden the camera just cuts away really fast. It's like, is that intentional? Or is that, is this the DNC getting ready to screw Bernie again? Or even Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard, I don't understand. I wouldn't vote for Tulsi Gabbard, but she would seem like the perfect candidate for the Democrats. Not crazy. I mean, Bernie Sanders is. Bernie Sanders is the classic. 60s hippie who took his honeymoon in Russia when Russia was still the USSR. But he's just the disheveled old guy yelling at the moon and get those kids off my lawn and da-da-da-da-da. My name is Bernie Sanders, and I really think they're name, and I'm really angry all the time, and I really think that if we got to have Medicare for all, and we got to have free college, and we got to pay for all the student loans, and we got to give you free food and free vacation, and we're going to pay for this, and we're going to pay for that, and we're going to give reparations, and we're going to do everything, and we're going to take it from the rich people. Just crazy old man. But for some reason, the kids love him. I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway, and the DNC and the networks aren't Bernie fans either. So I don't know. Go figure. Anyway. Oh, by the way, thank Pumpkin Trucker. I don't know if you're here or not, but I'm doing make rapper cartoons. I made a new hashtag because I just thought it was funny. I don't know what made this pop into my head this morning, but I'm trying to get it trending. Rapper cartoons. Hashtag rapper cartoons. The first one I came up with was ASCP Rocky and Bullwinkle. And then the second one I came up with was Beauty and the Beastie Boys. And I just got a new one. The first one that responded to it was Pumpkin Trucker, who put up Roadrunner DMC. So that's a pretty good one. Anyway, all right, let's get into Twitter trends because we got to figure out what people are talking about today. And because it is Friday, we know that one of the top trends is going to have something to do with Friday. As I do my little clicks here. Number one today, Friday feeling. Friday feeling. Oh, it's easy to be happy as a child. That's a good one. Just a little happy kid eating something. He got dirt all over him. He's been playing in the dirt, man. That kid's been playing in the dirt. Like that's old school kid playing in the dirt. Because nowadays, everyone's got the damn, sanitary wipes out. Mom's, sitting there next to you, making sure that they're watching you like a helicopter. And, there was a sad thing that happened. And I was thinking about this today because apparently in the last month, there have been like 12 different incidents of, and I'm serious. I'm taking this is serious right now. 12 different incidents of kids dying in cars because their parents left them in the cars with the cars windows rolled up. And there's been 12, I think this month across the country. And you see that a lot more. Now, I always wonder if it's because it's happening more or because news really is never really local anymore and you hear about everything. Because I know, like, for example, with child abductions have been happening forever. But the more they started putting them in the news, the more you started hearing about them. And not that there's necessarily more child abductions. I just think it's because it was the big thing for a while. People were always talking about child abductions. Then we came up with the Amber Alert system, and so now I get Amber Alerts on my phone. If there's a place in the area where a child has been abducted or is they can't find the child. So I think it's, but then my wife and I were talking, and she says, yeah, well, there was, we've been going through our family history, and there was a member of her family in the early 1900s that was abducted as a child. They never found the kid. But you would never, back then, it would never make national news. So when the thing about the kids getting in cars and being, they're in cars with windows up, and kids dying in the heat of cars if someone goes into the store or something, I think part of that is that because now you hear about all these bad things that happen to kids that probably have always happened, but they still are very few and far between as far as incidents go. People are way more protective of their kids. Now, you used to be able to, when I was a kid, if we'd run to a convenience store and I was in the backseat of the car, my parents would leave the windows open, they'd run in the convenience store, they run back out. But now everyone is so protective of their kids that they forget that some of these things are dangerous. And now this case, I have no idea what happened. All I know is the guy had a set of twins. It was on the news this morning. And he's being charged. They have charges for like involuntary manslaughter or whatever, but it's twin baby boys died in the heat of this car. And I don't know if it's just because you have to protect your kids, and so you roll up the windows thinking, okay, that's going to protect them, and instead you're in somewhere longer than you expect to be, and the kids are in a hot car in the hot sun because you're not thinking about it. I don't know. But again, I think a lot of it is you just hear about these incidents because every incident becomes national news. Every local, especially if it has anything to do with a race story, or if it's, again, like a police shoots somebody. If it's a police officer shooting a black man, whether they're armed, unarmed, whether it's justified or not, those stories get amplified every time because that's the big issue. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, But again, those incidents, they're man bites dog stories. And I've had this little dirty kid sitting on my computer screen this whole time. Anyway, I love the fact that this kid is playing in the dirt. Okay, used to be able to play in the dirt, and then you go home and mom make you take a bath. So that's my Friday feeling. All right, other Friday feelings. A lot of people have soccer stuff in here. I don't know why. But anyway, Friday feelings is number one. Number two on the Twitter trends today, and everyone's going to love this one. Hashtag Dear White People. Now, before anyone says anything about the hashtag Dear White People, it's trending with Dear Black People now too. That's new this morning. This was number 4 when I started this morning. Thank you, D.I. Freighter. Thanks for coming by today. Good morning. Check your logic. I see you just came in. Yes, thank you, D.I. Freighter. Great having you here today. Check for notifications. Okay, I shall do that. What do we got there? I hope it's... Oh, wait. I always got to protect myself with notifications. I never know what's in them. Oh. Big E Coyote. Would Wile E. Coyote ugly be stretch? Well, that's not a rapper. Okay, I don't see anything in my notifications. Maybe it'll show up in a minute. Anyway, let's go back to trends. Number 2. Let's get back to Dear White People here. Now, before anyone has a conniption... The reason this was on here in the beginning, and it's because the television show called Dear White People is going into its 3rd season on Netflix. Now, I know a lot of people, and I've been hearing about this every time a new season of this show comes out, this Dear White People trend comes up, but then the tag turns into a complete shit show. Okay, it's a television show. And apparently it's not a terrible show. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's not as bad as it would sound. But anyway, the 3rd season of Dear White People is streaming on Netflix now. New season is out. But there's lots of people pissed off because of the trend. Now, Brooklyn Dad to fight. This dude, I don't even follow this dude. This dude shows up everywhere. You know what I think he does? I've just figured it out. And I should be... I should be mad at myself for not figuring this out. This dude tweets under the trending hashtags every day. It just dawned on me, why am I seeing this guy all the time? He just goes into the trending hashtags and tweets under them so that he's in everywhere. So he gets tons of engagement. Anyway, he's replying to Donald Trump using the hashtag Dear White People. What did Donald Trump? Oh, well, yeah, y'all heard that the day Trump got into that little Twitter spat with Elijah Cummings' house got broken into. It was robbed. Now here, this is Donald Trump not really understanding syntax and phrasing, or did he do this on purpose? Donald Trump tweets, really bad news. The Baltimore house of Elijah Cummings was robbed. Too bad. Now, it could sound that he's saying flip it, too bad, or he's just saying that's too bad. And in fact, he prefaced it with really bad news. The Baltimore house of Elijah Cummings robbed. This is how you act when a member of Congress like Elijah Cummings is robbed. Like a petulant brat, dear white people who voted for Obama twice, then elected this chump. Fuck you very much. Sign the Americans who are sick and tired. Well, Brooklyn Dad, I'm tired of seeing your tweets every day, but we're gonna hang in there and read them if you're in the trending. All right. But anyway, dear white people trending. Now, so now I saw that Dear Black People was trending because Dear White People was. Do people not understand what Dear White People is a show? I'm not sure why it turned into a political debate somehow. Well, it originally didn't. It was just people decided that the show was coming back on. And so when I put a reply into this too saying, hey, people, Dear White People's trending because it's the Netflix show. Everyone calm down. But people just had to get into this. White people are mad because Dear White People is trending. This guy's through the Mike Tyson laughing one. Dear Netflix, here you can see some of my money. You are not getting any ever for Dear White People. So this is a white person who's mad. Love how white people took over Dear White People and Black Twitter can't do shit about it. Okay. That's kind of, fuck. Oh. Dear white people, see something, say something, check your people. Oh my God. Anyway, so dear white people, stop calling black people racist for speaking against oppression, racism, and the brutality they are facing in America every day. Okay, this is another one of those phrases that drives me insane. The oppression, racism, and brutality they are facing in America every day. You cannot collectively own brutality against somebody. Meaning, I don't see it because I don't face it. I don't allow it to happen to me. I am powerful. I'm not oppressed. I'm a black person. I'm not oppressed. If there is racism I see, it's usually some bullshit on the internet that don't affect me at all. Brutality? That's funny. Last time a police officer stopped me for speeding, I didn't even get a ticket. He smiled and said, hey, thank you, sir. Just keep it slow down and appreciate you, because I was nice to the guy. I'm like, hey, he was like, why I stopped you? I said, yeah, I was going 10 miles over the speed limit or 12 miles over the speed limit. I told him exactly how fast I was going. He said, yeah, you were. And he checked my stuff and said, well, sir, just slow it down, and have a good day. There was no brutality in that one. And you know what? People face brutality in all sorts of ways in this country. The guy who got beat up for wearing a MAGA hat, he faced brutality. Okay. People getting mugged in the streets. The hotel manager that got beat up by 15 kids in front of his hotel at night in a coma. He's facing brutality. Okay. And saying, just shut that shit. Dear white people. And then this is someone's overreaction because they're not figuring out what Dear White People is. Dear White People is a television show that has going into its 3rd season on Netflix. That's all it is. This guy, Dear White People, mocking an entire race. How brilliant. This will definitely solve racial tensions. Keep up this wonderful idiocy, Twitter. It's not Twitter, but, it's a show. And so everyone had to jump in on it. And it's just one of those. And you know what? The show itself came up with a divisive name because it gives it buzz. I don't know if it's a great thing. This is interesting, though. Dear white people of America, embrace your long and proud history of pursuing freedom for all. And woe to those who are offended by our incredibly unique and empowering constitutional freedoms. What did she put on here? America, the original safe space created by men with guns. Interesting. 9 facts about slavery. 9 facts about slavery they don't want you to know. The first legal slave owner in America in history was a black tobacco farmer named Anthony Johnson. That's true. North Carolina's largest slaveholder in 1860 was a black plantation owner named William Ellison. Yes, these are facts. I don't know if this is, American Indians owned thousands of black slaves. True. In 1830, there were 3,775 free black people who owned 12,740 black slaves. Many black slaves were allowed to hold jobs, own businesses, and own real estate. Yeah, many. I need a citation and what many means. Many is a weasel word, so that one I don't even care about. The others are actual facts, but that many, define many. Dumb. That's a dumb fact. Brutal black and black slavery was common in Africa for thousands of years. Okay, that's true. But that doesn't justify. Here's the thing. Here's my whole thing about slavery. I say this over and over, when this country became a country, in 1776 and had a constitution in 17 whatever year that was, 87 or whatever the Constitution was signed. Within one generation, we outlawed slavery. We had a bloody war. 500,000 people were killed in a bloody war. And though it wasn't necessarily all about slavery, it certainly was some about slavery. And one generation after this country was founded, slavery was outlawed. Okay. Within another generation, we had the Civil Rights Act. You realize that 200 years is not a very long time when you consider that the institution of slavery has been in the world for thousands of years. And yet this country, again, within one generation of being a country, abolished it. And within the next generation, or at least I'll say 2 generations later, we came up with the Civil Rights Act. Okay. Unprecedented in the history of the world as far as the speed with which this country was able to do that. That's why I can be proud of this country, despite the fact that we have certain blemishes within our history. But remember, the idea that America was never great, really? How can you say that when this is a country that did accomplish those things? And probably the best place in the world for minorities to live. If you are a minority in many other countries, you are a pariah. And I don't care if it's, try being a black person living in parts of Asia, or a white person living in Japan or in other countries, or a white person living in South Africa right now. It's not, although they still have plenty of white people in the government there, it's not the safest place for you. So being a minority in other countries isn't all, candy and circuses. This country has a culture of multiculturalism and celebrating people who aren't exactly like you and having cultural differences and cultural intermingling. And we have a culture of being under the banner of not necessarily our race, but the banner of our country. And so when Donald Trump says make America great again, he's including all Americans, although certain political factions do not want that to be known. They want it division. Okay, they say a lot of people say Trump is dividing America. Everybody's dividing America, and we need to come together. And I'm not, in some ways Trump is, but more the reason Trump is dividing America is because everything he says is made out to be divisive, because that's a strategy for another political party to gain power. Okay, to try to have people hate this person as much as you can, and they come up with things that you can be against. But again, I think that strategy is a bad strategy, because people vote for things that they are for. They will take the time to vote for things that they are for. It's hard to get you to vote for something, or to have someone come out to vote for something they are against, unless it's a personal, ballot issue initiative like that. Sure, people come out for those things. I think, boy, it's going to get interesting. Let's move on, because I got to get out of here. We're just going to let's check out the last of the top trends and get the hell out of Dodge. Care package. Drake's new compilation album, Care Package, is here. Friday Thoughts will skip 5. Oh, this one's funny too. This is the Trump hate hashtag of the day. 5 words of advice for Trump. We'll just get into it. We'll get into this cancer for a moment. This is good. When they can't deal, winning. Okay, that's interesting. Hillary Clinton, lock her up. Now, it's funny that some of these weren't, when I trended this before, I went through this, it was mostly stuff bashing Trump, and I'm sure that I'll get past these first 2 and that's what it'll be. Race hustlers gonna hustle. Holy shit. Well, this is Sean. He just put these up there and they're trending. They're on there on the top already. Go away, far, far away. So there's a Trump hater. Remain seated or be indicted. Oh, I guess that's over. Oh, he won't get up because Mueller says you can't indict a sitting president. Oh, God. Yeah, of course he's stupid. Oh, and here's Brooklyn Dad Defiant. He's in every trending hashtag. It just clicked on me why I'm seeing this guy all the time. Obama will always be best. Oh, no. The things we're beginning to find out about the Obama administration, you might want to hold your thought on that one. You shouldn't praise murderous dictators. Yeah, I think it's a negotiating strategy with Trump. He tries to butter them up. But you notice today that there are new sanctions on the Russians. I can't remember what it's over, but it's the news. It's probably the news of the day. You'll hear about it today. So if he's praising Putin, he's putting some new sanctions on him as of today. 5 words of advice for Trump: show us your tax returns. Yeah, a lot of people are that they actually making new laws in some states just to get Trump about his tax returns. You hear about the law in California? Apparently, they will not put you on the ballot in the primaries if you do not produce 5 years of tax returns. That's gonna get slapped down like, I won't say it. I won't say it. Let's just say that one's going to get slapped down by the courts. First of all, California isn't the entity that decides who is on the ballot. The parties get to decide that. And obviously, they're allowed to do it however they want to, because the last election, the DNC, there's a fraud lawsuit against the DNC, and they actually found ways that they could keep Bernie off the ballot. Okay, so not off the ballot, but there were cases where they cheated Bernie Sanders and justified it. But anyway, because tax returns is not a requirement to become the president of the United States, I believe that the courts will say, not so fast, because there is no constitutional requirement for the president to have produce tax returns, thus the states cannot add that requirement. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm pretty sure that'll hit the courts, because they got to have that figured out by, I think, October or November of this year to make sure that the primary ballots for California can be printed. So expect a lawsuit. All right, moving on. But anyway, so most of these 5 words of advice to Trump are from the Trump haters, and I wish I had more time because some of them are actually funny, even though I think they're stupid. All right, moving on. Let's see. Friday motivation. Tool is trending. Their entire discography. Oh, Jericho Green. I like Jericho Green. I think he's funny. He cracks me up. Follow Jericho Green if you don't know who that is. Tool's entire discography is streaming online. Great. I'm not a fan of Tool. Harry Maguire, Manchester United makes Harry Maguire the world's most expensive defender, Telegraph reports. Oh, man, these sports teams are giving out some serious jing lately. James Baldwin, if you're not... why is James Baldwin trending? Oh, this was his birthday. He was born on this day in 1924. This 45-minute documentary about the author and activist is essential 2019 listen. He's James Baldwin's the guy, I believe he's the one who integrated the University of Arkansas. Is that right? No. Alabama, maybe? I think he was one of the guys. He's one of the ones. I'm not sure. Oh, thank you, Duck Dog. Got a super chat. Hooty hoo! Super chat. Thank you, Duck Dog. Duck Dog donated $5 to the coffee fund because every day I do have my reparations coffee in hand. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Duck Dog. I actually do need to pick up some coffee. Thanks to all of you who helped me with that. All right, so James Baldwin, on what would have been his 95th birthday, consider relevant words by James Baldwin from The Fire Next Time. Please try to remember that what they believe, as well as what they do and cause you to endure, does not testify to your inferiority, but their inhumanity. I love America more than any other country in this world, and exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually. Now that for me, kind of embodies the American spirit. I think James Baldwin's a brilliant guy. You have to understand the time and place he wrote what he wrote, but that is a timeless phrase, and I'm going to read it again. I love America more than any other country in this world, and exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually. And I think about, now, you may or may not be with me on this one, because, well, let me give you just an example where I probably don't agree with me. When Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee. Now we know, a lot of you know the true story about Colin Kaepernick and his taking a knee. Originally, he was just having he was having a temper tantrum over a contract dispute. However, when he was taking a knee for the national anthem, yes, it's maddening and it's offensive to people who love this country, but Colin Kaepernick's action as a protest and later for whatever he's protesting is the beauty of being an American, that you can protest something and be so controversial, and yet Colin Kaepernick is not in jail, because in America you're allowed to do that. Now I can disagree with him till the cows come home, but his right to make that protest in public without criminal or any kind of criminal liability or whatever, that is America. Someone burning a flag, as much as I abhor that action, as much as I think that is reprehensible, to burn a symbol of your country that's so tied to America. The fact that someone goes and burns their flag as a protest is part of what it is of being an American. You can hate the act, but the person who does that act absolutely is what it means to be an American. You can protest your country without the repercussions. Now, clearly, people are going to criticize you. You could have a very heated back and forth about that person, and that person may suffer maybe social consequences or financial consequences because people not wanting to be associated with the person who does that type of thing. Although Colin Kaepernick somehow cleaned up on it because grievance grifting is good. But even the grievance grifter, Sean King, jackass. Now, him making clearly he doesn't. This is shaky ground now. but Sean King, he protests lots of shit. Trashes Trump every day. Trump the dictator. Remember the Trump the dictator, Trump the authoritarian, Trump the new Hitler, who hasn't thrown Sean King in jail, who hasn't thrown Brooklyn Dad in jail, who hasn't thrown Kathy Griffith in jail, who hasn't thrown Elijah Cummings in jail, who hasn't thrown Michael Avenatti in jail. Because in America, you're allowed to criticize the president. And what I want people to remember also, in America, the president of the United States is allowed to criticize you back. It's not racist. It's not sexist. And because we live in America, those things are allowed, and nobody's going to jail for it. I may not like what you have to say, but you damn well have the right to say it. Thank you, James Baldwin, for being a great American. Don't always agree with all your writings, but you are a great American. Happy birthday, sir, on what would have been his 95th birthday. I'm going to skip the rest. I'm going to end on that because to me, that's a positive note. God bless the USA. It almost makes me want to sing that song right now. All right. Anyway, thank you all for being here today on the Morning Night Live. We're here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 2 p.m. GMT for those people in other parts of the world. If you haven't done so already, please hit the share button, especially if you're watching this after the live broadcast. Share this out. Let people know we're here. We welcome all comers. And also, if you haven't done so already, hit the like button. That's also down there. And if you're so inclined, you can support the show with super chats. Again, thank you so much, Duck Dog, for the super chat today. Really appreciate that. It's definitely a great incentive for me to keep doing this. But I also love doing this, so don't fear if we don't have super chats all the time. Thank you so much for being here. I gotta go. My name is Dawg Knight, and I am out of here. Have a lovely weekend. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and I want to thank you for joining me today on the Dawg Knight channel. Before you go, if you like what you saw and you're not already subscribed, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below, and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, and 2 p.m. GMT. A special thanks to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through our Streamlabs link in the description below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.